Maybe I shouldn't even edit this part, ne? I shouldn't even edit it. I should just leave it. No intros, no nothing.
Yeah, these are the people that I know would.
Yeah, this is the vibe. Yeah.
That's private school. That's private school.
All right, we jumping straight into it. Guys, welcome. Welcome to the Bikers of Africa podcast. We come in not so fresh out of one of the busiest weekends, in our biking calendar. We hosted the Africa Ubuntu breakfast run about 2 weeks ago, of which is, a biking event that has become not only continental, but is slowly but surely becoming a global, activity, for bikers. So we've got the Gauteng Ubuntu Run organizing committee to discuss a few things, pertaining to Ubuntu, Africa Ubuntu breakfast run. We're going to talk about, the origins, the logistics, the challenges, the aspirations, everything in between. So, good people, I almost said gentlemen. There's a lady I don't think I've never ever hosted a lady on the podcast, right? I don't think so. I haven't. Come to think of it, So you'll excuse me, if I almost said gentlemen, you know what I mean? So welcome to the Bikers of Africa podcast. If you may kindly introduce yourselves, and if you can introduce or let people know what club you belong to, that will be awesome. Thank you.
My name's Animal. I ride for the West Side Riders MC, best club in the world.
Okay.
My name is Zakar Ziad. I'm part of the Exile Presidents on the West End. Let's not go down the best club in the world.
There we go again. They did the same thing but let's carry on. Yeah, there we go.
My name is Superintendent. I'm a member of the Sopranos Biking Club. We're based all over.
Okay.
My name's Beth. I am a lady, just in case nobody pointed it out. I'm the national road captain of the 45s MC, who is actually the best club in the world. Yep. Just saying.
All right, my name is Voodoo. I'm a member of Desperados MCCSA, and our footprint runs in the Northern Cape, and as far as Gauteng, Pretoria, Bronkhorstspruit area. Yeah. The ultimate club of choice.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. The ultimate club of choice. So, is this the entire Ubuntu Run organizing committee in Gauteng? Is this? Yeah.
No, this is half of the Gauteng committee.
Okay.
Yeah, just the guys that were able to be here today.
All right, and what does it take for anyone to join the committee if they're interested?
Probably a bad family life at home. Lots of time on their hands. The ability to do work without thanks. Volunteer, take hits on the chin, keep going year after year. And when the run is done, have a smile on your face and go, thank God we were able to get it right again. That's what it takes.
Awesome. And does anyone have an idea how long this particular committee has been in existence?
This whole committee has been here from day one. And as Anima said, there's some organizers who are not here, if I may mention. Star Lady, who comes from Woodreds, and Sol, who comes from Batsumi, and we have Kamza, who comes from the Aidumi Machini, and Tulas, who comes from
Urban Fellas.
Okay. So those are the guys who are not with us, but we're all together.
Okay, can we just quickly run through the history, right? Who's that?
Yes, and Brave Hearts, yeah, the host of the Bikers of Africa podcast.
So can we quickly just go through the origins of Ubuntu Run, how it all started? We'll go into the objectives immediately thereafter.
So how it started, 2016, am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
We confirmed that now.
Yeah.
Right, we're all happy it was 2016. We had an agreement 2016. It started off as there was a need for communication between different clubs and different councils from across the country. Initially, it started off as just a WhatsApp group. It was born out of one or two councils that decided that they needed a bit more communication amongst themselves as well. We started a WhatsApp group that was on a national basis. We discovered very quickly on the WhatsApp forum that there actually wasn't that much unity, specifically around the color barrier and around the color issue amongst biking traditionally, it had been so. And without somebody making some sort of a change to the state like it. The initial idea was just basically to go on a run together with everybody, enjoy what we do. And from a single breakfast run that involved everybody in each province, it has just exploded into what we have today. So it grew organically, naturally, with a hell of a lot of effort and hard work in the background from every committee member across the country, across the continent. Everybody puts in the same amount of effort, sacrifice, and so on. And because of that amount of effort, and I think importantly to note also, the commitment and the loyalty to the biking community, I think is why each of us are here. We want to see it grow. We want to see it in a good condition. We want to see it being a healthy motorcycling community here in South Africa. It's also a very unique motorcycling community on the African continent versus any other continent in the world. And that was the basis around it. And every year it just kept growing. So that's how we got from start to here.
Awesome. And what is the core objective of all of this hard work that's been put into this thing?
Well, it's twofold. We're trying to unify the fraternity, but also trying to display the unity of bikers for the globe. So it's no longer an African run, it's a global event. So we're trying to show the unification of biker at large in simple terms.
Awesome. And with that being said, I think I came across some of the comments on social media where people say, if this is about unity, why is, that group riding in that way? Why is this one riding in that way? Does anyone have an answer for that as far as group locations and so on is concerned?
Yeah, I think I can help you there.
Okay.
So I think we all know that when you join a club or when you have a group that you ride with constantly, you almost develop your own mannerisms, you develop your own way of riding, you develop your own comfort zones. And
all of this in the name of safety.
And all of this absolutely in the name of safety, because you don't ever want anything to happen to any of your club members or any of your people on your ride. And people tend to ride where they're comfortable.
Okay.
And that can be seen as we separating groups, but the bikers don't see it that way. Those that understand that ride together would rather be together with where they're comfortable, people they're comfortable with, riding at a pace they're comfortable, because that's what we want. We want everyone to have a good time.
Sure.
And we want everyone to feel safe, because if people don't feel safe, they're not going to come back.
100%.
There's also protocol.
100%. If you just...
There's also a protocol conversation that needs to be had and actually also needs to be respected. So when you belong to an established motorcycle club, an official three-piece badge club, or even if it's an MCC or a riding club or something like that, protocol does come into effect here. And one of the main reasons that Beth has as hard a time as what she does with Blaza in controlling everybody is because you've got different groups within motorcycling communities, and different groups have different riding styles. And you've got to accommodate that. You must understand that everybody's lives are in our hands when we have these runs.
Sure.
Everywhere. And it's not a small responsibility. And the easier we can make the logistical nightmare of having so many different characters
Sure.
on the road at the same time,
Sure.
you've got to think of the most logical way of doing it. And here's where the protocol comes in. There are MC clubs, 1%er clubs that are on this run. They only ride together as a pack. They do not split themselves. They do not go on a mass run of any sorts anywhere around the world, not just here in South Africa, where their club will just merge into the bigger pack and kind of fill in where they can. That's not how they run. There's rules, there's regulations. It's stuff that's probably 100 years old that they ride in that particular formation. The cool part of it, like Beth was explaining earlier on, that people are comfortable with themselves. That makes it so much safer from a marshalling point of view to allow people to ride in the groups that they are used to running in.
Sure.
If you as an independent biker or as a biker comes across this and you've not experienced it before, it's only something that you can learn from, is to watch how these packs ride together. For example, a lot of the 1%er clubs have got not a standard riding formation, but a shoulder-to-shoulder kind of a formation. You do not mess with that because that's how they train. That's how they've always operated. And you've got to accommodate a club like that. One of the questions that I'm sure that you'll bring up is why are they allowed special parking as an example? It all leads into the marshalling aspect of it. It's easier to manage a group that manages itself and allow them the autonomy of being able to look after themselves. It allows us also to put our manpower from a marshalling point of view onto the rest of the guys that don't ride and have that kind of a riding style.
Okay.
So it's not preferential treatment. It's just logical and it just makes sense. And for everybody, it's safer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else anyone wants to add to that? Okay, 100%. Because, like I said, I mean, what I realized is, the biking community has issues with certain groups of bikers, right? Be it M109R or this club or whatever club. And they felt that, Ubuntu Run is a perfect opportunity to voice out those frustrations. So if guys park in a particular way, at a certain event, or this is how they make their grand entrance and this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? They've never really had a platform to voice out their disapproval thereof or whatever, you know what I mean? So it came out as though the organizing committee didn't do their homework, when it comes and treat people as VIPs, of which is, I mean, the number one objective around that was just safety. It was just around making our own lives easier as far as coordinating the run and ensuring that everyone is safe on the road, right? All right. I think that matter is addressed. And then let's talk more about how, the step-by-step process, of organizing the run. How does it start? When do you decide on the start venue and the end venue? How do you decide? Who's going to host and where will the run be going? Because there's other issues of, people thinking that, this run only goes to a township, whereas others would say, no, but the run doesn't come to a township, it only goes to the suburb and so on. You know what I mean? Can we try and just clarify that matter a little bit? Yeah.
So basically, when we look at the planning of the event, we start the year before, literally after the previous one. We start looking at start venue. We look at end venue. We consider the route. We consider who of the officials or authorities need to be part of it. So, for example, things like traffic support, we engage. When we look at EMS for safety reasons, we engage. In terms of the criteria, and we also include MISA, who helps us from a marshalling perspective. What we do and what we consider when we start looking at start venue, what we've done in the past is we firstly need to ensure that there is firstly support, because it's a non-profit thing, right? The organizing committee puts their time and effort into it. At times we need to travel afar, so that's out of our own pocket. We do not make a cent from it, and I think that's something that also came up on social media. We costs are literally pushed down to the start venue or the organizing from a start venue perspective and the end venue. And hence why it becomes very important that whoever is chosen as a start venue, firstly, they need to have the appetite to bear the costs associated with the event. So what the start venue would need to obviously provide us is firstly, parking area for everybody to come. A level of support when we talk about badges that we hand out every year, because whoever attends gets a little badge, evidencing they've been there for the year, and that makes them comfortable. There might be tea and coffee and little refreshments when you come to the start venue. And again, firstly, money is involved, but I think the big thing there is the appetite to support what we are doing. Because we don't go to them and say, look, guys, we're going to bring you 1,000 people, we want 10,000 rand. We don't do those type of things. It's more the support and buying, right? We consider logistics. Obviously, it's a discussion between us and the starting venue of how and where and what. But once, as a committee, we agree that it's the official one, and what we do try to do is, because it's a biking-related component, we try to go to the different dealerships, the different manufacturers, because, and the same token, we also try to give all manufacturers an opportunity, or all dealerships in inverted commas an opportunity to host it, because at the end of the day, that's the benefit out of it for them is, apart from the advertising and the social media presence, if I can do it, but we showcasing our brand. It's marketing, inverted commas, right? When it comes to end venue, again, what we do try to do, and coming to your point is, it's not necessarily a Kasi thing, but we alternate between going to the Kasi / underprivileged areas and going to more suburbs, upmarket areas, if I can put it that way. But because we need to alternate, because we do that on an alternation basis, right? So this year, we basically went to Sumunya. Last year, we had Prime Media. Prime View, sorry for that. Year before, we went to Slochile. Next year, we'll go wherever we need to go, whatever the end venue needs to be. But we try to create this, because at the end of the day, how do we give back to the end venue? Like in Sumunya this year, the aim was let the local vendors, suppliers, little shops, little aunties, they're selling their fat cook and mince on the side, come to the event. Ideally, the idea is whoever attends is gonna want to go in, he's gonna want something to eat, he's gonna want a glass of water, a bottle of water. Support the guys, bring some income into the community, so give back a little bit.
I think it's important that we don't charge them money.
Agreed. That's another thing coming to that. We don't charge these vendors to come and give us pay a 500 rand to have a store.
Yeah.
None of that. Again, being transparent. The Ubuntu is in that, right? We don't touch the money. If there's money that needs to be given to a supplier for badges, we let you say, here's the banking details. Please do what you need to do. That type of thing. When we look at venue, we again look at logistics, look at the area. Is there going to be benefit for the area? A host of things that we consider. Is the venue big enough for the crowds that we're considering or estimating to attend, etc. And then obviously your authorities get involved, safety reasons. Marshalling, MISA gets involved from a marshalling perspective. We follow the route. The utmost importance for us as a committee is safety on the ride. And we try to enforce that as we go through. Again, we try to minimize bad behavior as much as we can. But we do have a couple of bad apples. As bikers, we all bad apples in one way or the other. But we try to keep that as a minimum. And literally, it's a day for everybody to be on the same page. So same mindset, same focus. Afterwards, by all means, do what you need to do, or do what you want to do.
Can I throw a question in there that has been on social media? And I think
100%. If you can come closer to the mic.
So I think we need to take a couple of hard questions and deal with them. One of the questions that came out a lot in social media is, and I'm going to paraphrase it now for the purposes of answering. Did we mess up with our start venue and end venue this year? And I think the truth of the answer is, first of all, yes. Take on the chin. We as a committee thought that we were being courteous and accommodating of both the start venue and the end venue with this idea of every year of being able to share the love and the message of Ubuntu. And did we mess it up? I think so, yes. I think the start venue this year was not conducive to an Ubuntu of the size that it was this year, nor was the end venue. And not because the end venue was in Ukasi, and not because of the fact that the start venue was this particular brand. It was just the size of the place that we, in good faith, thought we would still be able to support, still show the commitment and the spirit of Ubuntu, and it backfired on us.
Was it due to the surprise of, the increase in numbers?
That's a contributing factor to it.
Yeah.
And all that it did was it compounded it because of the fact that there was such a big volume. And what we thought would be able to accommodate that kind of volume collapsed on us. And then the same old thing that happens every single year is that the vendors don't take us seriously. Sure, we're going to have that amount of business. Sure, we'll have the burgers ready. Sure, the coffee will be ready. And then on the day, they just absolutely collapse. For the record, for over the last 9 years that we've been running the Ubuntu, we have broken every single start venue.
Yes.
And we have broken every single end venue. We have yet to have an Ubuntu that takes us seriously, both from a media point of view, as well as from a venue point of view.
Yeah.
They do not believe the size and the magnitude of this thing. And when it happens on the day, they break.
Yeah.
It happened this year. And I think as a committee, do we need to apologize for this? In hindsight, yes. From an organizational point of view, no. It was never ever the intention that we were going to choose these venues knowing it potentially could break. That was never the idea. We were confident that we'd be able to handle it and handle it safely for everybody.
100%.
It just happened that it fell apart on us this year because of factors beyond our control. But we take responsibility for it and we do apologize to Joe Public. We will do better again next year.
Yeah.
It was not on purpose.
Awesome. Do you think that do you think we've barely scratched the surface as far as the number of biking communities that participate in Ubuntu Run are concerned, or there's still a big, a much bigger group of bikers out there?
Look, we haven't done any serious scratching in terms of numbers that attend Ubuntu.
So you mean the numbers that shook us this year, they can come back tenfold next year?
Look, on average, Gauteng.
Yeah.
This year, the feedback that we received is that we had 1,500 average
Okay.
people on bikes,
Okay.
not counting motorists who came through, not counting peelers. So Gauteng on its own has got a huge biking community. And there's huge number of biking clubs. And there's people who are not in biking clubs. And there are councils in Gauteng that are huge. So having 1,005 attendees on bikes this year, it's just a fraction of where we're heading. We're looking at probably about 5,000 bikes on one event. That's when we'd say we now talking numbers. And this 5,000 would need to be properly managed. That's a topic for another day. But for now, we're still starting. And this is our 10th, we're getting to the 10th year next year. So we haven't done much. We're getting there.
So there's talks of trying to, contest for the Guinness Book of World Record. It's not even a contest because I don't think there's any breakfast run in the world of the magnitude of Ubuntu run. You know what I mean? So are we headed for that? Putting it officially on records that Africa holds the biggest bikers breakfast run in the world.
You're quite right. I've spent some time looking for it. And if there is somebody that's watching this podcast that can find something that's bigger, please contact us. Our contact details are available. We are looking to find out if we're the biggest. And with the research that we've done so far, nothing like this exists anywhere on the planet. There are single runs that are bigger in the US.
100%, yeah.
But it is not the same as what we've got. That's a single run in one location. The beauty of the Ubuntu is, and I think maybe this is another thing that we've got to clarify. Ubuntu is not a day job. Ubuntu is not a bike rally. Ubuntu is purely a breakfast run. It is nothing else. It's not trying to be anything else. It is a breakfast run to show unity within a biking community all across the globe.
Okay.
And that is the purpose of it.
Okay.
But I've got to say it 50 times. This is not a day job. Please don't expect to see it as a day job. You're not going to find stalls. You're not going to find entrance fees and that kind of stuff. The only thing that you are going to find is refreshments of some sorts and
The badge.
a badge.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not going to buy T-shirts and bike gear and that kind of thing.
So just to go back to what you just said, right? Ubuntu Run it's basically a run that personifies unity
Correct.
among bikers, right? And as bikers, we all preach, brotherhood, unity, this, that, and the other, right? And the best way to display that I am for unity, is to show up for Ubuntu Run. Am I correct?
It's right shoulder to shoulder.
100%. So does that tell us anything about bikers, clubs, and councils who don't show up for the run?
Good question. And I'm going to answer this question straight up now.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that the movement of the Ubuntu Run is the same as any movement that will be happening anywhere else in the world. We're trying to do something. Have we achieved it yet? No. We're far from it. Same as your question about numbers. For me, the Ubuntu is not about numbers. It's about the efficacy of the Ubuntu Run.
100%.
How effective is it in actually bringing across the message of Ubuntu? That we can have diversity sitting around the table as what we do here right now. That is Ubuntu. Taking it from dealership to dealership. That is Ubuntu. Taking it from Ukasi to Sandton to the Vaal to wherever it is and mixing it up every single time. That is Ubuntu. The public has also got to understand something. It would have been easier for us to choose one start venue, one end venue, keep it like that. The same people benefit from it every single year. But that's not Ubuntu. I am because you are literally means you've got to get off your ass and you've got to go and do for the next person. Lip sync, it works to an extent, but unless you're getting your hands dirty, you're not practicing Ubuntu. So every single person that comes on the run and physically rides next to NK, next to you, next to a black man, next to a white man, next to an Indian man, without caring who it is that you're riding, because all you see is a motorcyclist next to you with a helmet on. You don't know if it's a man, you don't know if it's a woman, rich, poor, black, white, it doesn't matter. That is the purpose of Ubuntu. Yeah. So we've got a long way to go to answer your question, NK. Very long way to go. Even in 20 years' time, I don't think we would have reached the nirvana that we hope. Maybe not even in our lifetimes. But I think if you want to see the success of the Ubuntu Run would be the day that our kids are riding the Ubuntu Run. And we gone. But the Ubuntu Run is still there. It still is, and providing an opportunity to communities to unify.
Sure.
So are we fixing the world and changing the world? No. We're trying, but what we're trying to do actually more than anything else is to provide the platform and the opportunity for unification. Unifying people is not our job. That the person that joins the run, it's their job. We provide the platform, we provide the opportunity to do so. It's up to Joe Public and the rider to practice and preach Ubuntu. then we know that we've got.
Very, very well said. I think that's very well said. Yeah, we can wrap up now. Yeah? We managed to get the message across. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad that you managed to articulate that the way that you did, because anywhere where you want to find flaws, mistakes in anything you will, right? And a lot of people have seen a couple of naysayers come around and they look for those flaws and say, no, but why are those guys riding alone? Why are they parked there? You know what I mean? Where is the spirit of Ubuntu? But they don't look at the bigger picture, and I hope what you've just articulated will resonate with a lot of people who will be watching this.
And I'm talking about, can we address this?
No, jump in.
Let's address the
You are
next
fully
thing.
charged today. No, I see the rest of the guys are on 2 bars, 3 bars. You are fully charged.
We're here for something.
Yeah, sure.
Let's answer the naysayers.
Yeah, sure.
In hindsight, I like naysayers.
Sure.
If you don't have people bitching, kicking the tire, being naysayers,
Yeah.
means that you're doing your job perfectly. No. It's the opposite. If nobody complains, you're doing something wrong. But if people are complaining, it means you're doing something right. And the truth of it is that you must always listen to the naysayers. You could learn something. We're not also going to be arrogant and sit here and think that we know it all and that every single Ubuntu from here on out is going to be run perfectly. No.
Okay.
We're just normal people. We don't get paid for this thing. We do it out of love. We end off every single Ubuntu with a blood nose and a blue eye, but we come back the next year and we come and do it again for the naysayers.
Sure.
So please, the naysayers, if you've got anything else, trash talk or anything like that, I encourage you to find fault with the Ubuntu. It gives us the opportunity to grow and learn. I will say this though. Don't be destructive in the way that you do your naysaying. If you are counterproductive to the Ubuntu, rather shut up. But if you're going to ask an honest question and you're genuinely looking for an answer, we're happy to answer you.
100%. Yeah, no, that's it.
So bring on the naysayers.
Yeah. So we always pressed for time, on this podcast, but there is a bit of an elephant in the room. And that I would need us to just quickly, touch on. We had a bit of a misfortune on this particular run, the first time ever, and we on the 9th edition of Ubuntu Run. Unfortunately, there was an incident, there was an accident of which became fatal. And a lot of people would ask the question, if you talk so much about safety, if you talk about so much, the precautions that you take to ensure that everyone is safe, why did this happen and how did this happen?
Some of it.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Beth. All right.
First of all, we can stand up and demand silence so we can speak about rules and regulations and how to stay safe. We can do that. But it is up to every single individual if they want to listen or not. We can put protocols in place where we put marshals at intersections. We can maintain riding speeds and encourage people to make sure they can see the person next to them in the mirror. We can do all of that. We can stand up and even give people a lesson on emergency braking and how to do things safely. We can do all of that. We can say all of that. At the end of the day, when that grown person gets on that motorcycle, they are responsible for themselves. And they are also responsible for everyone around them. So if everybody can be responsible for yourself and responsible for everyone around you, you should be safe. Yes, situations happened that we couldn't mitigate. It happened. It wasn't anything that we foreseed or foresaw. Sorry, my English. It wasn't something that we had any idea would ever happen to us. But at the end of the day, it did happen. And it hurt all of us. Especially as a committee, we were all on scene. And it's very unfortunate, and it is a slap on the face for us to maybe change things a little bit and have another look at how we're going to get everyone together to listen to a briefing effectively. But you cannot control a person when they get on their own motorbike. They're still going to do what they are used to doing. And it just takes one person to do something that unsettles someone else, and an accident can happen. That's why it's called an accident, not an on-purpose stunt.
Okay.
And I just wanted to put in, people are grown-ups, they do their own thing, and bikers as a rule don't always listen. And I think it's our nature. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Is there anything specifically that can be done or said, going forward? Anything that can be done differently to ensure, that something of this nature doesn't happen, or is at least minimized, right? Is there anything that bikers do even after the briefing? That they still go out and become themselves, as Beth said. Yeah, I guess the type of question I'm trying to ask is, the majority of bikers on the run will comply. They will follow, the guidelines that have been set. But there are a few individuals, a few groups that still feel that, we will do what we want to do. You know what I mean? How does that impact the run itself as a brand? How does that impact you as the organizing committee? And what is it that needs to be done in that regard?
Okay, so I'll take a stab at it. The guys can jump in, throw points, maybe I'm missing. I think maybe to start off with, let me explain how safety gets considered from a committee perspective at the first cut. So once we've decided what the start and end venue is, we look at the route. From a route perspective, we avoid as much intersections and small roads, considering the volume of people attending, to avoid, because they create situations where manpower is really needed, right? So we try to take the simplest route. 90% of our runs, for those that have attended, are all mostly highway rides, because it's easier to control a highway. The difficulties in terms of setting it up in terms of routes is the start venues, like for example the 0 and 4 ways, the route or the journey from the start venue to the highway, the journey from the highway to the end venue, because you need to go through a little bit of normal daily routes, the town routes, if I can put it that way. We minimize that as much as possible. Part of the establishing of the run is we included the organization called MISA, who are literally marshals by, let's not say profession, by skill set. We include the traffic department. We include individuals that are known as marshals and have been trained and skilled as marshals within Gauteng. There's a group of individuals that have been skilled for it. We have dry runs before the run, which includes those individuals, including traffic, including MISA, so that on the day of the event, as literally the weekend before, we ride the route, we see there's potholes. If there's potholes, and let's say there's major construction, because it happened to us one year where we literally had to divert the entire route onto another highway because of the construction. It would have created more chaos than what it actually was. We plan for a 90-10 split in terms of road-going users versus the bad apples in the bunch, with the view that we can control the 10%. Hence why, if you look at all our events, we've not had the magnitude, firstly, of individuals attending. The marshalling has been a lot simpler than what it was. We've been able to control the crowd. What's been happening is the 10% seems to be growing to 15-20%. which is something that's concerning from a committee perspective and something we're addressing in terms of planning for going forward next year. What we've also picked up is we need to do a lot more awareness around the safety internal to the ride, which we need to ensure that individuals riding understand what is tailored formation for riding as an example. They need to understand how the marshals and what the marshals are doing. So, I mean, that's pre-planning to avoid these situations that we had this year. And again, I think the one thing that does come into play that we never ever think about is rider fatigue and loss of concentration while they are riding. And that is something we cannot control. If you're riding in a pack and you're looking around and all of a sudden the bike in front of you is slowing down because of the speed, if you're not on it timelessly, unfortunately an accident or something is going to happen. And that's what we need to try and get across. And I'm hoping in the next round, and not actually hoping, but there's a few things that we're going to do, is create more awareness of what is martial safety, what riding formation is, because a lot of people don't know what is staggered formation. And you see it, but it doesn't really until you're in it and you feel what it is. For me, I think that's as much as what we can do. We need to get individuals to listen to the brief. It's important that they know what the marshal is about. It's important that they know, because we'll highlight this hot spots you need to worry about. But again, a lot of guys want to socialize in prep for it. So we need to build on that communication at the start venue going forward and create this environment of guys, I need to think from, I need to make sure nothing happens. Because it's unfortunate as a committee, it's taken off us. And it's a slap in the face as Beth has alluded to that. For this one, we have it. It's not a nice thing to hear about. I don't know if I've missed any of the comments.
I'll add something in there. There's a lot of videos doing the rounds at the moment on social media that actually show you the accidents. So if you really want to look for it, you'll be able to get video footage of it.
Yeah.
One of the purposes of Ubuntu, and actually plays into the word Ubuntu, is our ability to ride as a community together. That is also a practice of this word Ubuntu. Ubuntu is not about just politics and color. Ubuntu is about the fact of, can we do something together as a community, collectively? And the run itself is the practice of that. The fact that we've gotten it right so many years in a row up until now is kudos to everybody that comes onto the run, not just to the committee members and to the marshals themselves. This year is one of those years where we failed as a riding community, I think. And if you look at the videos, there's a reason why. It seems that it is as if it's cool for everybody to want to ride at the back of the pack these days. And it's almost as if that 15% that you're talking about, that's where they want to be. You're not looking cooler by being at the back of the sweeper. Even in your own club ride, you would know if the sweeper's in front of you, you're causing shit. You complicating a run. So to all the guys that were the stragglers that were behind the sweepers wanting to look cool and be the last guy in the pack, please understand, you are now outside of our control and our protection. The marshals can only protect the people that play the ball and are actually practicing the Ubuntu. If you are behind the sweep, you yourself are not practicing Ubuntu. The fault then will lie with you. You creating an environment that's not safe for everybody that's around you too. If you look at those videos, some of those guys are doing 240 k's an hour trying to catch up to the back. That's not safe. It's also not clever. So the fact that you're leaving last and you're leaving behind the marshal, you may look cool while you're doing it between you and your mates, but you're causing complications and you're putting other people's lives at risk. It's not cool and it's not practicing Ubuntu. When we ride together as a pack, that in itself is an expression of Ubuntu. I'm riding with people I've never ridden before, but I know in my mind I've got to be responsible and mature enough to know that just for an hour, just sit in the pack, stay at the pace of the pack, and enjoy the view. There's no need for there's a guy that did wheeling. We need to actually identify that guy. I'm sorry, but whoever the guy is that was a wheelie guy, is that the camera that we're looking into? You're a dwarf. You're putting people's lives at risk. It's not cool what you're doing. There's a time and there's a place for it where you are going to look cool and you are going to be a cool guy that wheelies. NK can probably wheelie further than what you can, but not on the day, on the run. It's stupid, it's not safe, and it's irresponsible. But most importantly, it's not practicing that word Ubuntu.
Thank you once again. I think we have to wrap up. We are pressed for time. Is there anything in closing, any of you guys who work so hard, for this particular event want to say?
I think as club member, we need to acknowledge that there have been deaths and respect. So can we maybe just say condolences to that family here and in Durban?
Yeah, so of course in Gauteng, for the GP leg of the Ubuntu run, we lost a member of Desperados, a fellow club member, known as Lomi Titi. His real names are Tisetso Kyaobaka, James Mputi. May his soul rest in peace. And yeah, we also note that in KZN, a gentleman by the name of Zetroshan, also lost his life. So, may their souls rest in peace. And well, we plan to do better year on year. And we pray that 2026, we won't have any incident. And that's why our planning starts now. Just like last year, as early as February, we already starting to work on logistics for 2025. So this year we do the same. We're planning for the 2026 run. And we hope to have a bigger run, better run, and a safer run.
Thank you. Awesome. Anyone else in closing?
Introduce yourself as the host for next year.
Not yet. Not yet. Okay. Okay. So are we all good? Are we all good? Is there anything that I might have forgotten that we just need to touch on quickly regarding?
If there's anybody that would or has questions, would like to get involved, would like to support, would like to be a marshal, the committee also is not a static committee. If there's somebody that's willing to put time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into joining the committees as well, we are not an elite committee. We're open. We want to share the love. If you want to join us, we'd be happy to have you.
Lovely. Awesome. Thank you, gents and lady. Thank you for showing up. Biking it's a very demanding, sport, hobby, and lifestyle, as far as our time is concerned. And I know that we've got other commitments, families and so on, you know what I mean? So thank you for showing up. I think on the next episode, we're going to invite a couple of marshals, maybe a traffic officer if we get lucky, just to talk about the issue of safety. I think the bulk of the podcast for this year will be, road safety focused. You know what I mean? Because I think we've tried in many ways to try and address, the issue of safety. And there's a platform created, to reach a much wider audience, you know what I mean? As far as road safety is concerned, we'll get the relevant people who know what they're doing, who know their stuff, who live, road safety, So, yeah, I think the next episode we will touch on that a little bit. Thank you once again. Yeah, no, for sure. Let's do that. Let's do that.
This year, thank you. Thank you to Harley Davidson and Mzansi. It was a really special place to be for 2025. We broke McDonald's. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
We broke McDonald's. We got a McDonald's to order McDonald's from McDonald's. And I think that's a kudos. But thank you to everybody for joining us. We really do hope that you did have a good time and that we were able to make you have a comfortable experience. Please come next year Bring your friends, and we will do better. Every single year we try our best to do better. But thank you for coming. Thank you to HFR also for hosting us as an end venue. Kemba, we're always excited to have, I have to be honest, it's always exciting, even though it's as challenging as what it is to have an Ubuntu in and Ukasi as well. The takeaway for me about that particular venue this year are the hundreds of kids that came to come and have a look at these bikes. It's something they've never seen before. They were blown away. For all we know, there's a couple of Brad Binders that we've influenced. And if you want to ask me what the purpose of Ubuntu is, that's it.
100%.
So thank you for coming.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Up until the next episode. Goodbye.